Now to the Middle East, where Iran claims this morning that it shot down an American drone. The head of its Navy says the unmanned surveillance plane is in Iran's possession. But a U.S. Navy spokesman says no American drones are missing in the Middle East.
However, if it's true, this would be the third incident in 1 year involving Iran and American drones. Retired General Richard Myers, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, is a CBS News senior military security analyst. General, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Charlie and Norah.
Does this mean that Iran is getting more aggressive, and should the United States be concerned, and what should it do?
Well, you know, the U.S. has had a naval presence in the Persian Gulf continuously for a long time, and I think if there's any reason for concern here, it seems to be that Iran is being a little bit more aggressive. As you mentioned, 3 drone incidents in the last year. Seems to be ramping up their attention in the area and making claims that, in this case, we think are untrue about the current capture of a drone, not a U.S. drone.
General, I want to turn to the other story on the front pages of newspapers today, and that is Syria and U.S. intelligence showing that they may be moving some of their stockpiles of chemical weapons. First, here was President Obama yesterday sort of drawing a red line with Syria. Listen.
I want to make it absolutely clear to Assad and those under his command, the world is watching. The use of chemical weapons is and would be totally unacceptable. And if you make the tragic mistake of using these weapons, there will be consequences and you will be held accountable.
So, General, does this mean we're closer to U.S. engagement?
Yeah, I don't think so at this point. I think, as I understand it, what we saw was movement of, or some activity in the places where they store their chemical weapons. I don't think we've seen the movement of chemical weapons forward to a point where they could be used or put on weapons. But I do think it puts Syria on notice that this would be unacceptable behavior, and there would be consequences for that behavior. And I like the president's words, "will be held accountable," because the world will be watching these horrific weapons. They're indiscriminate. Men, women, and children could be, of course, indiscriminately killed with these kind of weapons or badly injured. And so I think it was good that the U.S. put Syria on notice in this case.
General, what is the trigger point for American action, and what would the action be?
Oh, that's a great point. What we do know, I think, from all the reports is that there's been a lot of planning going on in case there is chemical weapons activity in Syria as the Assad regime feels more and more pressure from the opposition. What that would be, I don't know. I mean, if you're just talking chemical weapons, you can go after delivery vehicles, aircraft, artillery. You could go after stockpiles, but then there's the danger, of course, of releasing chemical weapons into the atmosphere, which could harm people as well. So you have to be very careful. Perhaps boots on the ground, but I think that's, at this point, I think that's a long way off. I don't think it would take a lot of boots on the ground, I believe, and I don't think that's one of the options that anybody's considering it at this point.
If there is action, would it be alone by the United States or with allies?
You know, ideally it'd be with allies, but when you get down to it, who has the capability to do the sorts of things that would need to be done? You would hope it would be with allies. You know, with Russian President Putin's visit to Turkey, it looks like there might be a point now where we can start cooperating with Russia on the eventual Syrian outcome, a Syria without Assad. And you know, in my view, we need to look for ways to cooperate with Russia. There are lots of areas where our interests intersect, and this may be one of them.
Thank you very much, General Myers.